What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we are here every Wednesday night. Happy Hump Day. I am your host, Stevie. This is episode 487, alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Before we start, can I just say one thing really quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. For everybody that reached out regarding my situation with my boyfriend, I just want to say thank you. Of course, I mean, I have family and friends that support me, and they're all amazing. But it's also so great to know that I have all of you as well. So thank you so much because it really helped me beat some self-defeating and loneliness and things of that nature, that mindset that you can get into. So thank you so much. It really helped. And therapy is going to help too because my new therapist is going to get an earful, darling. Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, it was
And
great. It's been
as I
great.
was
People have
telling
been
you
so
offline,
kind.
I could not commend you enough for what you did divulge. For those of you who didn't hear episode 486, check it out because we got a little, that's the beauty of this show is we talk about hot topics, sexuality, but oftentimes we're the news. And so
it's not
Cody
com- it's not comfy being the news.
I know, I know,
Okay.
I know. Ugh. But I really commend you, and I'm very proud
Thank you,
of you,
baby.
and we are all
And
here for
thank you
you.
very much.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
because you've been
absolutely.
amazing too.
Oh,
So
well, and we'll continue to be there for you. So, we are super excited about this episode. There is so much to talk about on this show. A little bit later, we are welcoming our very special guest, Magnus Riise, to the show. He has a brand new EP out that I downloaded today until tomorrow. We're going to get into all of that, plus his sexy video for the title track, and so much more. Stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss it. He's super cute, too. We were
oh my
talking about
God,
that. I know. We're like,
adorable.
what?
I was like,
Yeah.
let me go put
Oh,
on a little bit more concealer underneath my eyes.
right. Exactly. We also have a major announcement to make that we're super excited to make. And I think we're going to give some advice to one viewer today. So let's get into it because we have a lot to talk about. And starting with Kevin Spacey, who was in court for the last several weeks, he has been cleared of all sexual assault charges. And if you recall, he had a case in New York that he was also had all that removed as well. Kevin Spacey has been cleared of all charges after a 4-week trial in London. He's 64. He had tears in his eyes today as the jury at Southwark Crown Court found him not guilty of 7 counts of sexual assault and 2 counts of other serious sexual offenses. And the allegations covered a period between 2004 and 2013 when Spacey had served as artistic director at the Old Vic Theatre in the Britain capital. So he pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. He did thank the jury. Interesting, weird thing about thanking the jury, Kodi, is he
Mhm.
was seen talking to the jury after the
Really?
court, the case after he was acquitted. And it's so weird because that would never happen in America.
Oh no.
Where you would just talk to them. A couple other facts that I thought were interesting about that. Elton John in this court case not you could say he defended Kevin
Mhm.
Spacey. He essentially vouched for Kevin Spacey because Elton John does a huge gala every year. And one of the accusers said that Kevin Spacey had molested him at one of
Mhm.
these parties. Well, the year that they gave, according to Elton John, didn't coincide. Elton John went on record saying, Kevin Spacey's only been to one of our galas, and it was back in 2011 or 2001, excuse me.
Okay.
And that did not coincide with the date that the accuser was saying. So there is that. The
Mhm.
other interesting thing that Kevin Spacey's lawyer said, which I found interesting, we were talking about it in our meeting, was
Mhm.
Kevin Spacey's lawyer said Kevin Spacey has led a promiscuous lifestyle and has led many of his accusers to come out and essentially come after his money. That is so interesting to hear his lawyer
The
saying.
lawyer said that?
I know. I mean, I feel like, Nelly Furtado, when she came out with Promiscuous, I was all about it because I feel like I
You
live
didn't
a
know it
pretty
was about Kevin
promiscuous.
Spacey, right?
I didn't know it's about Kevin Spacey, but that word still has connotations that are, maybe it's my Catholic background and upbringing that are still like promiscuous. Ugh.
Ooh.
And so, but I guess, hey, if it got him off, what's your thoughts on this? And do you think that Hollywood will re-embrace Kevin Spacey back into the mix, or is he no longer canceled?
Well, I don't see why they wouldn't have him back. I don't know what his career is going to look like when he actually does reemerge into Hollywood, but he has been cleared of all charges, so I don't see why he would not. Probably because of the reasonable doubt thing. Like you said, there was reasonable doubt, and
Yeah.
basically it was one person's word against the other person's word. So they have to clear them at that point. And so I'm not going to see anything that he's in. So it's neither here nor there for me. But the thing that got me was the promiscuous lifestyle, because that is clearly code for gay. And you know what? Damn it, straight people are just as promiscuous. They hoes too. Because I know a lot of straight people and they do some very promiscuous things and they don't get called promiscuous like we get called promiscuous. And
I
for
feel
the
like straight men don't. We were at your
no,
birthday party over the weekend and we met up with this straight guy, and my friend and I were talking to him, and he was on a mission to meet as many, he was from Australia, and he was on a mission to meet as many women as he could that night, which, hey, I'm kind of on that mission when I go out, not women, but men. And so, but he was literally telling me as I was waiting for the restroom, and I was like,
Mhm.
wow, that's interesting. Okay, you're right. Straight
That
people
is
are,
interesting.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but and the lawyer said that, so he should be, I don't know, something should happen to him because lawyers themselves, I know a lot of lawyers, not because I've been in a lot of lawsuits, but just because from being friends with them, that I know that they party too. So I don't think that he should look down his nose at anybody.
We are live, and Teddy, who co-hosts with us often, hi Teddy,
Hi,
says
Teddy.
being promiscuous and an abuser are two very different things.
Oh,
Yeah, allegedly, right? I mean, because he's no longer charged with these things, so it is what it is. But let's keep the conversation going to one of our favorite topics and artists that we've been talking about, Troye Sivan. You know, we were talking about his current single that a lot of people are, Rush is the
yeah.
single. And a lot of people are, it's going viral in many ways. The album drops in October. Correction, I said he was British. He's actually Australian. So, correction on
Okay.
that. He was on a recent podcast this past week where he mentioned a lot of interesting things in this podcast, Kodi. Let's reference, he was on the Emily Ratajkowski podcast, High Low with Emma Rada. And
Hmm.
in there, one of the things he said is a one night stand that surprised him and changed his thinking on intimacy. He said he hooked up with another man and they were both lying in bed together. The other man then said something that Savan said was like something out of a movie. He was like, "This is one of the greatest pleasures." And I was like, "What is?" He recalled. And he was like, "No, even if I never see you again, you know, we are like sharing this one night and this one moment, and we can connect in this way. The sleepover is my favorite part of hooking up with someone." And according to Savan, he said that it changed his mind about that. And it actually had some influence on his current upcoming album, in that we all have these experiences, essentially, what we're saying. And I think we're going to talk to our Magnus in a little bit
Hmm.
and about similar topics about his project.
Yeah.
But I love the idea that we're talking about our sexuality, our gay sexuality. I love that artists are talking about it in their music that we haven't seen in past. I mean, I think we covered it up in so many ways. And I think that the experience that I have often with a one night stand is often a connection that you really cherish in that one
Hmm.
moment in time. Sometimes it leads to more,
Come on,
sometimes
Whitney.
it doesn't. But it really is a moment in time that can be very special that the two of you enjoy. And it's kind of speaks to our community. What did you think when he said that comment?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you on this. It reminds me of that movie Weekend, which was
Oh,
beautiful. It was such a I wept. I went through all the emotions. I
I'm going
had
to
a
pull that out.
boyfriend. It was so, I had a boyfriend for about an hour back then, back in the day. And that this statement and just reminiscing about how that movie made me feel kind of recontextualize how the many hookups and sleepovers and one night stands that I have had, how they are sitting in my memory because we as people, no matter how brief the moment that you spend with somebody, then we are always going to be a part of that person's tapestry, and they're a part of ours as well. So I just thought it was lovely. Thank you, Troy.
Thank you, Troy. And I've said this before, but in recent years, I've set an intention, a daily intention, thanking the creator for the day. But one of the other intentions I set every day, pretty much every day, is to be in the moment and to
Hmm.
enjoy the moments. Because just like this moment or with a hot guy, I want to enjoy those moments. And I think we often write off things like a one night stand, like, forgettable, although sometimes I do forget some of mine, but they remind me when I think about them.
But
You were with me and there was with somebody and I was like, I can't remember who that is. And I'm
mm,
like, I said something, but yeah. So yes, Weekend, check it out. We need to do a movie night, Cody, and watch it again. I have the
oh
DVD up
yes.
on my shelf over there.
Let's
So
do it.
yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Roy also said something in the same interview about his position. This is interesting because he said he wanted everybody to know he's not a bottom. And I think it was because he came out with a single a while back called, oh, what was the single called that people reference?
Blossom?
Bloom?
No, Bloom,
Bloom.
Bloom. There we go.
I
Blossom is
quote,
a 90s TV show.
right. So I wrote this song called Bloom, right? And it's about bottoming. And the lyric is I bloom just for you. And people took that and ran with it. I think in the sort of consciousness of gay people, he's saying, I'm some crazy power bottom or something, which is just not the case. And I just want to put it out there. When she asked a little bit more clearly, he says, no, I think sometimes people are just surprised if they go on a date with me or something like that. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm not a bottom. So do you think he needed to make, I mean, I think it's fun conversation to have on a podcast like this and to put that out there. I could see where people would think that maybe they would even put him in a box because of, I'm sure people would,
Because
all
he's
of
a
us in
twink.
boxes
Yeah.
because you look a certain way.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I commend him for correcting what people may think just by reading a book by its cover. Do you think it was extra and that he needed to say that so that we all know now he's a top?
I think that when he comes to my house, I will turn him into a bottom, okay?
How about a power bottom? Like,
Oh, yeah. He will be climbing the walls if he ever came to my house. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a small clip that I watched, and I think that I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt as far as that he's not bottom shaming because bottoming is beautiful. We need bottoms. Bottoms are so wonderful and it's so pleasurable. And I think that he should probably get into it. And judging from the guys in that Rush video, I think that if that is his taste, then those guys, I don't know if they're bottoming all the time. Well, you know what? I retract that statement because you never know, right? Like you said, you don't judge a book by your cover, and you never know with those guys. So yeah.
exactly. So, I mean, of course, we all talk about that stuff, and people had a lot to say. Who cares if he's a bottom? Says, I believe it was Bryce. Yes, I'm all for it. But he needed to clear that up. So I'm anxious for the album, though. So it's going to be interesting to see what he talks about on that album,
It's
besides
gonna be
Rush.
it's
So
gonna be
yeah.
good. Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Well, we have a major announcement to make that we are very excited about. We have been invited to attend an upcoming Vacaya 2023 Mexico resort vacation that coincides with Halloween, and I'm talking October 29th through November 5th. It's in Nayarit, Mexico. If you know anything about Mexico, you would fly into Puerto Vallarta, and instead of going into Puerto Vallarta, which is Jalisco, the state of Jalisco, you would actually go the
Mhm.
different direction and go over to Nayarit, and it's a all-inclusive resort. Again, it's the Vacaya 2023 Mexico resort, where we will take over the entire property, and it's going to be huge. There's going to be parties. There's going to be a red light district that we're going to talk about a little bit
Ooh.
more. That's exciting because I talked about the red light district on the cruise. Well, they have
Mhm.
one for this specific uh, vacation, and
Experience.
we will be there. Kodi and I will both be there. We will also be going live for Tags Live on the Wednesday of the, I'm not sure what date that is,
I can look it
but
up really quickly.
find that out. We will be doing a live broadcast, Tags Live, there on property. And the best part of it, we'll have an audience and we'll pull people up. So if you want to be a part of this, you can actually get up to $200 off. It's so brilliant. And I'm going to put the link in the conversation, and all
Mhm.
you got to use is our promo code TAGS, TAGS at checkout, and you'll get up to $200 off. It's all inclusive. So whatever the fee is, you'll get that up to $200 off. But in addition to that, it's includes your food, it includes your alcohol and all the good stuff, the parties. And so you're
It
kind of
includes us
covered.
too.
It includes us. So I put the link there. If you're listening to this podcast, this will be up on tagspodcast.com. Click on the link for this trip. And again, the trip is called Vacaya's 2023 Mexico Resort Vacation, October 29th through November 5th. And we want to see some of you there. It would be a
Yes, we
lot of fun.
do.
Take advantage of our promo code TAGS at checkout, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
I
So
can't wait. I'm so excited. I can barely sit in my chair because all the things that you mentioned. Halloween, we have to get our looks together. The red light
right.
district. I finally get to enjoy it because you were talking about it and I was so jealous.
Exactly.
And we get to a live show, and it is November 1st that we're going to be doing our live show.
Absolutely, which is going to kick off our live shows from here on out. That'll be the first one. And then when we come back to New York, we're going to start doing some more live shows on certain premises around in New York, but also we might come to a city near you as well to bring the love and the sexuality and all that good stuff. So we want you to take advantage of it. So take advantage of that. We'll talk more about what you can expect. We have another announcement on next Tuesday's show on how you could even win your own free trip as well.
Ooh.
We're giving away one free trip, but that will come out on Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. But you know what? I think it's time to bring up our very special guest. We're talking about Magnus Riise, and I think I should invite him.
I just did.
Okay, good. Thank you. Our special guest to the show, Magnus Riise. And while he's coming up, Magnus Riise grew up actually in Norway, where he booked his first professional acting job there. Well, he has a brand new EP out that we are all excited about. I just downloaded it today. I think you did too. Until
I did.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Talks a lot about some great subjects on there. And so here he is. Magnus, welcome
Hey
to
guys,
Tags
thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
My
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Well, first off, congratulations on the new EP Until Tomorrow. I just downloaded it. I listened to the whole thing today. I know Kodi did as
I
well.
did.
We're going to talk about a lot of the singles and the inspiration for all of this. But I think the first thing I want to ask you, you explore difficult subjects on this close to your heart, like mental health, sexuality, loss, and self acceptance. Can you just talk about, before we get into the Until Tomorrow video,
Yes.
what was more about that inspiration?
Yeah, I think that if I had made an album maybe 5, 6 years ago, it would have been a sort of middle of the line. Try to not be too much of this or too much of that. But especially, I mean, I worked on this project for a long time, but in the pandemic, I really decided, I was like, I'm going to do this, and I just think I'm at a point where, as long as I believe in what I do, I don't really care if people hate it. And so it's
Yeah.
just like, it's going to be unapologetic in every way. And I think, especially when it comes to mental health, I've always advocated for other people's mental health, but then you realize you're much better at advocating for other people's than your own. So I think there's especially one song on there that is incredibly honest. And I think I kind of
I'm
knew
wondering
that
if
had
it's
to
the
be there.
song that I'm thinking of. Let me see. Well, we'll get to it, but I
Yeah.
think there's, Kodi, do you have a question before?
Oh,
I get into the,
definitely. Oh, definitely. So tell us a little bit about your background, because I hear so many different influences in your music and in your voice. Your voice is so expressive. So can you just tell us a little bit about what influences you and your
Sure.
background?
Yeah, so I mean, you mentioned I grew up in Norway, which is true. I studied musical theater, so I was in that world for a long time. I studied that in London before I moved to New York, and it was kind of I kind of went through a process with I'd always been very interested in pop music. Elton John's been a big love since I was young. I mean, you talked about Troye Sivan earlier. I love Troye Sivan. Charlie Puth. There are many people
Cool.
in that sort of contemporary pop world that I love. But I think also for me was that what the acting world kind of did a little bit is that you're so trained to be a blank canvas for other people to kind of put something on you.
Mhm.
And I think I was just so scared of doing things that was, I'm not ashamed of being gay, but if I dress too gay, I'm only that character, or you
There
can't
it
color
is.
your hair, or you can't pierce your ears, And it's just like when I took a break from that and started working on my own stuff, it was very liberating, because then I could go, who do I want to be? And I'm not answering to anyone but myself when it comes to what I want to create. And that was just so freeing to me. And that's kind of how I ended up with what I made.
well, we
It's
have to talk
beautiful.
about, I feel we talk a lot about on this show with artists like Troye Sivan, but it has to be an exciting time to put out unapologetic music like you do, to be free. I mean, there's Sam Smith out there, there's Omar Apollo. You mentioned the king of all kings, Elton John.
Yes.
But besides Elton, for so many years, I mean, like George Michael was always
Yeah.
under the radar. And it's just, I mean, talk a little bit about the time that we're in to put out music, whether it's independent or not, and to be out there proud LGBT artist.
No, I think obviously what I'm doing now would have been so much harder to do just a few years ago. But I think the thing that sometimes can be overlooked, that in a space where sort of gay is a lot more okay, or queer is a lot more okay, we can be lured into the palatable version. And I think that was the thing for me, especially with this project, that I go, I think it's uninteresting to make anything to be provocative as a
Mhm.
point, but I'm also
Right.
not scared to be provocative if that's the byproduct, so to speak. Because, like, of course, I knew that several of the things I made, people weren't going to like it, but I kind of just leave them over there. So I think the thing is that, and especially, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it more with Until Tomorrow, is that I was like, yes, we see a lot more gay sex on screen. We see
Yeah.
a lot more of this stuff, but at least from what I see, I feel like it's so often very much presented in a heteronormative way. It's like,
Mhm.
take away the woman, put in a man, and keep the gender roles so that we have it in a framework that we can understand. So it's like, yes, it's gay, but it's just like, it's it's gay for straight people.
Well, let's talk about the title track, Until Tomorrow, where Queer News said it aims to position queer pleasure as normal as opposed to dirty. And you said through the video, it's important to me that intimacy and sexual experience felt authentic in a way that people within the community could recognize and relate to. And I say it's just plain hot, fucking hot. Your video
Thank you.
is so hot. You put it all out there. I was talking in our meeting earlier, Kodi, we were talking about it, and I said, it's basically, he created a music video that is a sexual experience that is a gay sexual experience, where there's kissing, there's intimacy, but there's flipping positions, there's hardcore at times, there's pulling hair, and it rinse and repeat back all over again. And I thought, wow, we haven't seen this a lot. Can you just talk about all of that and the choice to put that out there?
Yeah, there were a few things in the video that I knew I wanted. Like making it a verse experience was important to me as like step one to break it out of those norms of who fulfills what role. I mean, even with what you were discussing earlier with Troye Sivan,
I was just gonna say
how much people obsess about it, and again, like, it's not that it's wrong to be curious about it, but there's a difference between when you're curious in a way that has to do with desire, and curious in a way that has to do with, now I understand who you are. And
boxing
I was like,
you in.
Yeah, like sexual position is not a personality.
Yeah,
it's like,
definitely not.
And so I knew that. I mean, the poppers moment, it's a short moment, but I was like, it is such a huge part of gay culture, and I don't know if I've ever seen it on screen. And also a lot of stigma that has also just been linked to poppers for many, many years. So I did have to explain to my mom what I was sniffing in the video.
Right.
That was, I'm sure, not a comfortable conversation.
I mean, here's the thing. I told my parents before the video came out, I was like, hey, I want you to be prepared for what it is. It's like, do you want to be prepared or not prepared for like what's to come? And they said prepared. So I did watch the video with my parents.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's so
a big wow. Good for you.
Also for me, it's like, if something's out there in the world, I don't want to live this double life of like, I see a lot of people who like in one space, they're so liberated. And then it's like, oh, I'm going back to my town. Let's get the wardrobe from the corner of my closet kind of thing. And it's just like, I don't want to live those two things. And I know that was like a 12-hour shoot day. And, if it was a real scene, I probably would have been much more uncomfortable. So I was like, this is probably a lot more uncomfortable for my parents than it is for me.
That's right. It's so funny. That's so relatable that you talk about your back home clothes, because you have that one shirt that you that you would put on in order to go back to your hometown. So I want to talk a little bit about why it was so important to you to include the message about HIV and things of that nature in this video to you, because I thought it was just beautiful. And I really thought that the video was sensual and just extremely well done. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. I mean, the simplest way I described the video when I first started writing the script for it was that I wanted to tell a love story entirely through the frame of sex. And that's why you see those moments, and it's intentional that it kind of gets less sensual and more physical towards the end when he leaves. I think for me, it's that, I mean, I guess it's ambiguous whether or not condoms are used in the video, but it's certainly not shown. And I just think it's interesting. We've come a long way, of course, when it comes to HIV, when it comes to research, when it comes to stigma, but there's still this, I think it's ironic because the safest sex you can have is with someone who's undetectable, because they know, and they're on top of their health. But still, there is this thing of like, even on Grindr, there's a, HIV status, like these things, there are so many, and again, like knowing your status is important, of course, but it is, there's still so much stigma around it. So when I went, this is my most sexual video that I have, I think that's a powerful place to put someone who's so, Hernando is great. I've known him for several years, and I asked him to be in the video. He was fantastic. And And he's been so open about his status for such a long
You're
time.
talking
And
about Broadway actor Hernando Umana, correct?
yes,
Who's
correct.
been in Kinky Boots and a whole host of other shows, I imagined, and it was his choice also to want to feature that, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it was in a conversation with him where it's like when I asked him, I mean, I had that in mind. I also didn't think that it was something that I was going to necessarily like, you know, it's like his status is not mine to exploit or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the one who brought it up and said, you know, I actually think this is really powerful and we should, you know, so that was put into, put out there after he suggested it.
Yeah, and it's not overt or it was not overt or it's not like you're trying to exploit him at all. So I think it's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I also think it's important when we talk about representation that people always talk about representation as entirely as a visual thing. And I think the representation goes so much more beyond that. And representation goes beyond what you can catch in a screen grab on the screen. And in my other video from the ground up, that was also a thing. You know, there's two of the people in the video, you know, they have OnlyFans and do porn. And that was something that I thought, you know, I'm very pro sex work. And I was like, one of the best ways to show you're pro is to not be scared to associate yourself with it. But again, like, you're not going to see that unless you know those people know that. But to me, because like representation is not about getting a medal, it's about actually authentically representing a community. And that's what sort of motivates me. So whether that had ever been a public thing or not with Hernando, that was something that I personally was like, just for me knowing it, it makes a difference.
Well, before we end the conversation on Until Tomorrow and the hot video that everybody needs to watch, and you will post the video on TAGSPodcast.com for episode 487, but I had a question because in the entire video, you are with the actor that we were just mentioning,
Hernando.
Yes. And I rewatched the video today, and at the very end, after you spent this whole hot time with him, you're in bed with somebody else that is not Hernando. Can you just talk about what happened? What's going on?
What's the story, girl?
I mean, it's kind of funny, like, because with what you were talking about, what Troye Sivan said earlier, it's very much that. I think that what goes through the whole EP is this idea of the words we don't feel the permission to say in a certain moment. And, you know, in the video, the reason why I often turn and reference the camera is because I tell the camera what I'm unable to tell him. So, of course, the video opens with him leaving. So in a way, the whole time, you know, he's not going to stay. Because I'm asking him to stay. Well, you already have seen that he's left. But the idea at the end is that, you know, someone did stay. Whether that is the person that you wanted to stay, whether you found something beautiful. I mean, it's ambiguous.
It's up to, I like that.
But it's
up to interpretation.
100%. And it also alludes to the way a lot of, you know, gay dating works. It is very, you know, centered around that. And I think that this idea of staying the night very much has, you know, a level of romanticism to it that maybe in other communities people wouldn't get as much.
Yeah.
Well, there's a song on the new EP that really resonated with me, and it's called For You. And it has some lyrics in there. I will keep fighting for you. I will keep living for you. I have to survive for you. And maybe one day for me too. Maybe one day I'll calm this storm inside. I'm assuming my head. And so was that that song was very powerful to me. I almost stopped and I was cooking up my meal and it stopped in my tracks because it really resonated with me. It seemed like this could be talking about mental health and maybe your struggles, or can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know, there's nothing to hide that it's a song about being suicidal and struggling to, you know, make the choice to, you know, stick around. And that was the song that I was kind of referencing earlier, that I knew that even before it was written, that like some version of this has to be on there. I can't honestly call it my very honest EP if this song isn't on there. So, you know, it's I found that at a time when I struggled the most and I couldn't see like tomorrow make sense for me, there were people in my life that showed that they cared enough that, you know, temporarily you could say, well, listen, I'm not going to do this for me. I'm doing this for you. And I think it's powerful in several ways. It has elements of, you know, the campaign from years ago. It gets better and that.
Yep.
But I also think it's hopefully can resonate with friends of people who are struggling, where that you can know that when someone's struggling the most, that you literally can be the person that gets them through one more day.
Yeah,
I like
that's so
that.
touching. Oh wow, I'm sitting over here. I'm tearing up a little bit.
I should also say
So
the music video for that one comes out tomorrow.
yay!
Oh, you're
That's so
kidding. Oh,
great.
good. We're live, by
You
the
heard it
way,
here.
and just to read a
Exactly.
couple things that people are saying. Woohoo, I love Magnus. Yes, great album. Yes, great album, I should say. Congrats, Norway. Shout out to Norway. And at least your mom did not find a bottle of poppers right next to a block of cheese in your fridge. Oh,
Very
Why
specific.
next to the cheese? Why?
That's great. I love
Okay.
it.
All right, boo. So I would like to talk a little bit more about the album itself. It's so beautiful. And I saw that you wrote and produced a lot of the tracks on there. And can you just tell us a little bit about the conception of the album as a whole, and how involved were you in the video concepts as well?
Sure. So I mean, they've kind of happened over time,
Mhm.
and you know, I'd worked with some collaborated with a few different songwriters. Some of the songs existed, you know, prior to I fully sort of decided to do the EP.
Mhm.
And you know, the reason why I title it Until Tomorrow is that I feel like the sort of common theme through all of the songs is this idea of getting through another day, whether that is getting through another day with this person staying over, whether it's your own mental health getting through another day, whether it's, you know, love me from the ground up, you know, like love all of me for another day.
Yeah.
So it's this sort of just like taking one step to the next day is sort of a theme that runs through it. And I think a theme that is especially younger times in my life really, really was a heavy theme in my life. So I really tried to sort of get songs together that I felt like as a debut EP of me as an artist, I felt described who I am. I also feel like we live in such a visual world. Obviously, like even on a podcast, there's a visual
Yeah.
element.
And we all look fabulous.
Exactly. If you're listening, make sure you go on YouTube later. But no, so I think that it's very hard to, unless you can get on big playlists, it's very hard to discover new music. So I was like, if you're going to be, you know, written about in articles, or people have an element of going viral, or people talking about it, there has to be visual elements. So I kind of just decided, I was like, I'm going to do a fully visual EP. I wrote all the
Wow.
videos in the pandemic.
Wow.
I did shot lists. I did, you know, I wrote out scripts, visual references, all of this stuff. It was because of the pandemic, I could really dig into the detail of that work.
That was a
And
time.
then when we got out of the pandemic, I sort of started hitting the ground running to you know, produce these videos.
That's
I
so
love it.
fabulous.
We should mention that you're going to be doing some tour dates in New York, and it looks like August 6th and September 3rd, correct?
Yes, I'm starting a monthly show at Verse. It's going to be the first Sunday of every month. It's called Extended Play with Magnus Riise and friends. And the idea is that every week I'll be performing, but I'm also going to bring like queer indie artists with me to perform their original music. I feel like that's something that we don't have a ton of basis for. So yeah, the first one is next month, and then it will be running regularly.
Let us know. We'll promote it, and
Cool.
Kodi and I will go. And
Amazing.
Yeah, I definitely want to come see.
a couple fun questions, throw away, and Kodi, jump in after.
Okay.
But we just before he's going to stick around for hot topics too. So, but are you single?
Yes,
Where do you live?
I live in Harlem.
What do you look for in a guy? I know.
I've tried and failed a lot at this. No, listen, I think maybe one of the biggest things for me is trust. I am zero a jealous person, not at all. I think that if you trust each other, that's all you need. I've had a lot of people say that, but not live up to it.
Ooh.
Are you more of an apps or a bar kind of guy?
I will say that I have a weird thing where I really struggle to go up to someone in a bar if I think they're cute, but I've never been nervous on a first date ever in my life because I was like, they agreed to the date. So, you know, if I put on a show, I'm going to have to put on a show for the rest of my life if this goes well. So
you're like, I'm going to be myself, right?
I'm so comfortable being myself on a first date, but if I see someone who's cute in the bar, I'm like hiding in the other corner, despite what I've released on YouTube.
Your perfect first date?
Perfect first date. I think like as much as I love going to a bar and all that, I love being out in nature and somewhere where it's like really easy to talk.
Yeah.
So, you know, like once I had a first date like at Fort Tryon Park watching the sunset with like a backpack with, you know, wine bottles and, you know, I was like, that to me is like super cute.
Perfect.
Yeah. What's your sign?
Scorpio.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Kodi,
the okay I always get.
That's two more, Kodi.
Oh, I don't. What's your favorite type of music to listen to?
Ooh,
yeah.
I will say that I'm gonna throw this in there. Are you familiar with the competition Eurovision?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm a big fan of Eurovision. I went this year and last year, and it's just the most amazing place to be. It's like easy to think of it as just a filmed, like, oh, I'm going to be where they filmed the TV show, but it's truly just like a festival of like the gayest music festival you've ever seen. So if anyone's ever considered going, next year's in Sweden.
Okay.
And and the last question, do you have a favorite Broadway show that's out
there?
Oh
my God, I was going to ask that too. Oh my.
Current one or of all time?
Let's do both. Current one.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Current one. Oh, I really liked Kimberly Akimbo. That was great.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And the ending took me by surprise. I will say, one of the first Broadway shows I saw visiting here, Next to Normal. I knew nothing about it going in, and it
mental
shook me
health,
to the core.
right?
Well, yeah.
Oh my God, I loved that show so much. It was a hard show. It was beautiful.
And I just love that a musical could be about a dysfunctional family with mental health issues. It was just everything you thought a musical couldn't be. And I think it's the only time I've sat in a Broadway house and the intermission happens and everyone just needed like 5 seconds. Like people weren't, they didn't like run up to go to the bathroom immediately. They just sat there, looked at the stage, took a breath, and it was like, right, we're at intermission now. And I was like, oh, that's how you know you made an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of Lady Day with Audra McDonald and myself and my two friends, because Audra McDonald embodied
Billie Holiday.
Billie Holiday, thank you. And we went to the bathroom and we looked at each other and we couldn't, every time we tried to talk, tears started going down our face because we were just so emotional. That's what theater can do. Yeah. It's amazing. All right. Well, you're okay staying on.
Yeah,
first of all, how can people follow you? Let's get that out of the way and and keep up with you.
So I'm Magnus Riise, basically on pretty much every platform, but I will say Riise is R-I-I-S-E because Norwegian. Just think of a Riise Beach, but add an E to it. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Well, X, Threads, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. You were really easy to find on all kinds of platforms, so I really appreciated that. We'll also link this up on TAGSPodcast.com, episode 487. You're going to stick around for a couple hot topics, correct?
Yes, amazing.
Okay. We actually had. Let me see if I can find the person. Kodi, can you find the person that we were? That had a question for us.
They were here. I saw them.
Yeah.
Yep, there they are.
Can you invite them up?
Yep.
Because
To the
one of our
main stage or to the wing?
invite them to the main stage so that they can ask their
Fabulous.
question a la Wendy Williams. And all three of us are the panel that are going to give some advice. And we always give advice on this show. Are they coming?
I invited them to the stage. So EL, if
Okay.
you're there, I
Yeah,
invited you to the stage.
If not, we
Come
can
on
get
up.
into a hot topic and I can immediately move to that. If not, Kodi, should I go to the hot topic and then we'll interrupt me?
Oh, looks like they're coming up.
Okay, great. Love it.
There they are.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Looking good. You look so
Nice.
cute.
L,
Thank
is that
you.
the name? Because it's different from the Instagram, yes? L Burke?
Yes, my name is L. Prince Cusco, that's my alter ego.
Okay, we all have
Okay,
that.
such fierce.
You had a question for us, and what is it? And Magnus is. Did you have a question for
Yes.
Magnus, by the way?
Oh my gosh. I did not, but I love the music video.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, well, I'll be really quick. So basically, I matched with a guy on Hinge on Saturday, and we had a total of 8 conversations. On Saturday, he sent me 4 messages. I sent him 4 messages. He didn't message me back that day, so I was like, okay, whatever. I'm going out, having fun with my friends. So Monday, he messages me. He's like, hey, do you want to have drinks on Thursday? I was like, sure. And so I agree to, having drinks with him. He says, oh, do you want to go playing? Oh my gosh.
Is that him?
Sorry, someone's
Is that
calling.
him?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
He's listening right now.
That's him.
Okay, he's like, bitch, don't talk
Yes.
about me.
Decline. Sorry about that. Drinks with him, and he says, is 8:30 8:30 fine? I say, sure. And so basically, I haven't heard back about it. So then, the next day he messages me, hey, are we still on? I was like, sure. That's fine. And I even try to throw in small talk, and he doesn't respond back. And it's just, he's 12 years older than me. I'm 29 and he's 41.
Okay.
And so in my head, I'm wondering, is this normal for a 41-year-old to just basically not really text back, but also make plans to go meet up for drinks? Do they just not want to talk that much until the day of, or is he just that busy to where he just can't say, oh, how's your day going?
Let me just ask you a quick question. Has he confirmed, when is this for this week or was this for last week?
It's for this week. So so we're supposed to meet
It's
tomorrow.
And
Okay.
have you confirmed tomorrow? Did he pick a place? Did you pick a place and a time?
He picked a place and a time, and so I agreed to it. And now I'm just waiting for him to confirm that he bought the tickets. But it's just he rarely texts, so it's been a day.
So I'll go first if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I would give him the benefit of the doubt. The good news is you're meeting him in a public place, yes?
Yes.
So I say you've invested this amount of time. You're going to be in a public place, so we're talking safety. A lot of people like myself, I'm 10 years older than he is, or a little bit more than that, but I don't love texting too much. And my sister and I always say this, we don't want pen pals. We want to actually meet up. So I would at least give him the benefit of the doubt, go on that date and see how you engage and how does he actually act in person. And then we could talk about it. Then come back on the show and let us know how that went. And how we'll go from there. But Magnus, what do you say? I mean, I don't know.
I agree with you a lot. I mean, I think on one side, I'm like, it shouldn't be this hard work early on. But at the same time, I will say that there is that possibility that he just is a terrible texter. And also, it becomes a question of if that's an issue, then maybe it's not worth it. But yeah,
there it is.
But I was like, if being a terrible texter is not a deal breaker for you, I think it's worth seeing. If he's like that in person, it's like bye, no point. But if that's always going to annoy you, how people text in the beginning, they're certainly not going to get better when they're at the peak of their interests. So but yeah, I still think it's worth trying out meeting up and see if it's different in person. But no, it shouldn't be too hard work this early.
All right. So I agree. I agree with Magnus all the way. I think that you should go on the date because you've already put all of this into it. So why not go on a date? Get your meal paid for at least. Okay. And then you need to take stock within yourself of whether or not you're comfortable with this line of communication. Because if you're not comfortable with it, then you need to just completely exit off. I would say even to continue texting him to see maybe if he does improve, because you never know what could happen. This might be a busy week for him per se at work. So go on the date, have fun, and then see if this is a continuing thing, and then see if you're comfortable with that.
But I go back
Okay.
to, why are we making a big deal
Steve has
about
something to say.
this? I mean, well, because I just had this whole issue. This is a real life experience. This is what we bring to the show. A friend that didn't approve that I didn't reach out to him in a timely
Mhm.
manner after he got back from this trip with this guy he was seeing. And I was going to do it in my way, in my time. And he didn't like the timing of it all. And I'm like, you're making a drama that doesn't need to be a drama. And in fact, I think I text that today to him, and I still stand by, I think you made a drama out of nothing. Like, let's talk about this in person is what I wanted to do. He didn't want to meet in person to talk about that. So it's almost like the friendship is over. It is what it is. But I think go on this first date and see. Later on, you can always dictate, like, I need a little bit more communication if he's not showing that, but you haven't really met him yet. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of excited for you. Yeah. I mean, what city is this in?
Oh, it's in New York City.
Oh, New York. Okay.
Oh.
Do
Yes.
Kodi and I need to go in the background?
Oh my
Magnus is
We'll be at another
serenading
table.
you?
Oh my gosh, it'll be lovely. You never know. Maybe he'll just bounce, and then we can all bowl. We're just going bowling.
Oh, that's gonna be
I love it. I
fun.
hope that helps. L, is it L?
Yes, it's L. Thank you.
L. Yeah, I hope that helps. Can you follow up with us and let us know how it went?
Yes, I definitely will. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
and we'll
Thank you,
report back.
Al.
All right. Good luck, and
All right, thank you.
let us
Good luck.
know. All right.
Will
Talk to
do.
you soon.
Bye.
All right, bye. Ooh, a lot of people had a lot to say on this.
Yes,
Did
they
you notice,
do.
Kodi? Did I just pull the wrong way?
Let's get Magnus back
Can
up
we
here.
get Magnus back up here? Oh my God. Don't let me do this.
Uh-oh.
Teddy says, L, sending good vibes on your way. What else? Oh, I think I can invite to the main stage. Did I just invite him?
I just
Yeah.
invited him.
Okay, good. Yeah. Somebody says, take a breath and go bowl. What
Yeah.
else is someone? It's
One
called
date is not going to hurt.
So Justin says it's called. Sorry about that.
That's all good. I thought maybe you thought my advice was terrible.
No, sashay away. No, never. Justin
Because
says
you
it's-
agreed with me. That's
Yeah.
why.
right. That's how I am. Look, don't piss off Steve. Justin says it's called anxious attachment. Some people need the constant reassurance and dopamine high of hearing from someone for reassurance, but you haven't met. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm excited for him though to see how this
Yeah.
goes. Yeah.
It's going to be a good date, I feel like.
It
Good
will.
sense of these things.
Yes. Okay. Well, we have two things to get to. One of them is just a Reddit thread, and it came up in a conversation. It's been a trend this year, and I'm going to preface this, y'all. Don't come for me on this. Do
You better
not
get ready.
come for me. I've been talking about this to friends of mine, but it came up on a Reddit thread, and we just had to put it out there. Painted toenails, hot or not? All right, Magnus, where do you stand on this?
I mean, I think it depends on the toenails. It's not the paint. It's not the paint that's going to bother me.
Is that a cop out?
No, listen. I think a painted toenail could be amazing, but I've seen a lot of bad toenails, so I think
Oh
that's
my
going to be my
God.
bigger deal breaker.
Okay, I like
No
that.
hammer
First, get your
toe.
toenails in check first. Go
Exactly.
get a pedicure first.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to say, and I was talking to my friend, cringe. It's just, and there's been a lot of guys that I've been with, and they have that, and I know it's Listen, there's trends out there, crop tops right now, short shorts. I'm for a lot of those. I did that really bad trend that looks good on a lot of people, but I probably should not have done it, where you do that razor thing in your eyebrow.
Okay, I did
And
that too.
I felt I succumbed to it, y'all. And
I look dangerous.
I know a lot of my friends were like, "Okay, Steve, we're just gonna go with this current moment." I think it was probably a bad moment on me, but the painted nails are it's cringe to me. And
Okay.
I was talking to one of my best friends, and he was cringe. What are your thoughts, Kodi?
Yeah, if you're comfortable with yourself and your sexuality, the paint that you are okay with painting your nails, the toenails, the fingernails, I think that's very sexy. So when you guys see me with my painted toenails and my painted fingernails, you better know that I am here to win. Okay?
Are you bringing
Thank
that to
very much.
Mexico?
I am. I'm bringing that energy to Mexico.
Okay. Yeah, it's fun, interesting, hot topic.
I think like Bryce said, if they're painted correct, and I think that's because when there's a trend, there's going to be a bunch of people doing it for the first time, and it's all over, and that's a no-go.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of practice before you take them out on the beach.
Yeah, Justin says, I just think most guys' nails look like shit when they're painted. At least, yeah, I don't know. Not for me. But hey, let us know what you think.
On my fingers, I can't wait. I'm excited.
I've definitely considered gels on my fingers, so
do it.
We can
all
go
for
together. Everybody doing their thing.
I'm down.
I'm just not attracted to it. It's just not my thing. But hey,
Yeah.
do you? All right. Lastly, it's our favorite segment that we love to end the show on, and it's called Thirst Trap, and it's produced by Straight Up Gay Porn, where you can vote, actually, and you should vote. It's asking the question, out of these 17 gay porn stars, who took the best photo? And there was a lot of good choices in the mix. Our job on this show, because this gets repackaged as an audio podcast, is to vividly describe on an audio podcast who got our fancy and why. Should we make the rookie go first?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
always. The guest always goes first.
This is outrageous.
You had more time to look at this. I'm looking at
I
it
did.
now,
Okay,
so,
I can go
yeah.
first if you're not ready yet, Magnus.
Just to get a feel for the
Okay, yeah,
for the
Kodi, go.
segment,
Okay,
For the
sounds
segment.
good. So first of all, Angel Rivera is so hot, but his room is so messy. It's ridiculous.
Oh my! I'm so
No,
over you all
done.
critiquing
No.
people's. I love a messy chaos.
It's so chaotic. I cannot enjoy myself in that room. I couldn't do anything with him because his room is he's beautiful, but his room is so messy.
You just determined my favorite. So do you want me to go next, Magnus?
No.
No, I mean, it's funny. So apparently, we're just on the same page, Kodi. Because I will say that I really appreciated bringing in some. I don't know if you're going to call it humor. The 4 donuts.
Oh my God, that's what's gonna be my favorite.
Right. So that was
King
my favorite.
Jack's.
But yes. So I did love that. I love that we can bring some humor into the sexiness. But I will say at the same time, this is an even worse scenario of the messy room.
This is a no for me.
So I was like, I'm torn on it because I appreciated the humor of it all. But then I go, you need to tidy your room. Like,
What is going on?
You're looking at the screen. You can see the mess.
This is horrible. I would be so uncomfortable in that room.
So did
But
you have a favorite?
my
Or was that
favorite
it?
goes to Andy Lee and Sean Austin because I want to do this because I love sex in a car. I just think it's hot. It takes me back to when I was growing up in wherever, East Bumblefuck, Virginia. It was so good. I love Sean Austin. He's sucking this Andy Lee's fat, amazing cock in the backseat of a car. And I just think it's gorgeous. I want to do that soon. That's my favorite.
Magnus, did you have? Was that your favorite one that you said?
No, I mean, I will say I appreciated the humor in the donuts. So I think that
Okay.
probably
That was my favorite.
because it stood out.
Yeah. I love humor
in a different way.
too.
Yeah.
Bryce
Oh,
says,
my gosh,
watching
you
us live,
guys.
says, Stevie, you like messy rooms, but not messy painted nails. And you know what? You're right, Bryce. I actually do. So Cody's been to my place several
Mhm.
times.
Yes.
And It's not messy, right?
It's not
Let's
messy.
put that in
It
there.
is not.
However, I don't allow a lot of people to go into my bedroom much, and it's a little chaotic. I do make my bed every day, but my bedroom's a little chaotic, and I kind of live for clothes. Like I'm pulling stuff all the time. I have racks, and I don't know. I like a little chaos in my bedroom, so I'm not mad at that. And
But the question is, would you post a photo of it?
That is what
I
it
probably
is.
okay. I wouldn't, but he has really nice feet, and I'm into feet, so I give him that, and his feet look really nice and like had a pedicure. So but not painted nails. So there you go. I'm going with what's his name here? King Jax. I'm going with
Okay,
him.
all right. You
Yeah,
have
all
fun in
right.
that
I
messy ass room.
will. A donut boy has a way.
Has a way
We
messier
want to
room.
thank our special guest, Magnus Riise. Thank you so much for doing the
Thanks
show.
for having me.
Thank
Oh my
you.
gosh. You can get it's available to download on Spotify, yes, and Apple Music until tomorrow,
Yeah.
correct?
Pretty much everywhere you can find music digitally.
And
we
look
can
out
follow
for the
you.
new video too. So what's
Yes.
that called again?
So the For You music video drops at 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, as in Thursday.
Yes.
And
I realized.
and your
should
new
say.
event starts next month?
Yes, so it's going to be first Sunday of every month. It's at Verse in Hell's Kitchen. And so August 6th is the first one.
All right, we'll be there. I love it.
We
free.
will.
I'm free. So thank you so much. Thank you for doing the show, and we'll send you all this to share with your people.
Amazing. Thank you.
All right, bye for now.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Oh, love it, love it, love it, love it. So good. Thank you, everybody. Magnus
Yes.
didn't say what app we could find him on. Oh, there's still a little, this chat, you guys, keeps going on. So if Magnus is still listening, put where we can find you on there. And it'll be exclusive to you all, this live audience. So you'll have
Yes.
we won't tell anybody at all. So let us know. Kodi, so much fun.
Always.
You can follow Kodi. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching on Instagram, KMD Coaching, or follow his personal account at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on Instagram. I am _Steve V. I am _Steve V. Follow the show and this episode on TAGSPodcast.com. And stay tuned because the link is going to be up there so that you can follow this episode. You can find out about our upcoming Mexico trip that you can get a discount on, and so on and so forth. Magnus just put in where you can follow him, so follow him there. Thanks, Kodi. Love it.
Thank you, Boo. So much fun always.
Yes. In the meantime, continue having hot
gay sex.
Yes, everybody. Love it. Lovely.